Well, good morning.
Hold up just a minute.
Well, this anchorage is going on the list, being up there with the worst anchorages in terms of rolly. It was crazy last night. If we have a vote, it's possible it's going to take out the award. It was crazy. I think I've got maybe an hour, maybe two of actual sleep. I'm not exaggerating. It was terrible. I mean, I'm not sure if you can see. I've said this before, it's always hard to see on video. But let's see if we can get down a little bit lower. And I mean, the slapping underneath the hull last night, wow, it was loud, and the vibration going through the whole boat as it slapped. Although you do kind of forget. Even worse than that anchorage in Greece with the white cliffs it was. I'll see if I can dig out some video of that. It was worse than that, and that one was pretty bad. 31st of August 2017 in Spartia, Kefalonia Island. And that's me and one other boat, Abe and Burgett. I've had a memory blank for the name of their boat, but they told me it was pretty bad here when they were here. And it's lived up to it, that's for sure. But there's no question it's beautiful, but just not a good anchorage. And then I'm just hoping that my windlass works this morning. That was really struggling at the end of the day. My guess is, I don't know, to be honest. It could be gearbox related. It just seems weird that it happened all of a sudden. Anyway, whatever it is, I'm going to have to pull it apart when we get back to Shagaramas. So I'll be having breakfast and then I'm off. One consolation is that there is a nice breeze, so it should be a nice sail back down, in theory. Look at the clouds settling in the forest there. A couple of impressive houses in the bush there. Oh, and the other thing was I was getting eaten alive. I changed cabins on 2 occasions, backwards and forwards, to the transom, to the bow, which was just pitching way too much. So I moved to the transom when it was facing into the breeze, and then back to the transom, it was in the transom then, and then back to the bow when it was this direction, and the slapping was just too noisy, the slapping on the transom. And while I was in there, I was getting eaten alive by bugs. I think they were probably no-see-ums. And the problem with those ones is it takes a little while for them to itch. So you don't realise you've been bitten until it's too late. And that kept me awake also. It's raining, it's breakfast time. And look at that. It's dismal out there. I'm not going to leave when it's this rainy because it's just, firstly, not pleasant. And secondly, you know, if something does go wrong and you've got little visibility, it's dangerous. But yeah, look at that. That's, I mean, it's not going to stay all day. Well, that could be famous last words, of course. But I'll just have breakfast. I do need a shave, so I might have a shave, and then it may have cleared by then. Fingers crossed. Okay, well, the sun's coming up, or has come up over the hill here. And when you get a little bit of sun, it lifts the spirits somehow as a sailor. And when you've got, let's say, 10 or 15 knots and really dreary, rainy weather, it always feels worse than it actually is. As soon as the sun comes out, all of a sudden that 10 or 15 knots looks like a fun sail. So it's interesting how just that changes your perception of everything. As you can see, it's still rolly. Oh, did you hear that? There's one example of what it was like last night. Oops, I left that on while I was filming, and we've gone a little bit too far. Let's take it off the heat there. It'll be okay. It wasn't too long. It's just going to be stuck to the bottom a bit. We'll leave it for 5 minutes and it'll come off. Okay, thankfully the windlass worked. We have up anchored at the beautiful Grande Riviere, and we're going to say goodbye. Okay, once we clear this headland, I'll come around a bit more. Wow. So we are now jibed, but it's really square. So we might have to jibe back again onto the starboard jibe just for a little while. It's wanting to get rolly. Whoa. Fortunately, they're just sitting at this angle so far. We're just sitting down between the troughs. But I've got stuff sitting on the counter. A thermos of tea, for example. We've only got 5 knots of wind and 4.1, 4 knots apparent, which is not a lot of breeze. So what we might do is actually motor just to get out of this. Yeah, motor's on. And then we can head west with a cup of tea. It's about the stuff on the countertop there. Some of it doesn't matter, but that thermos mug of tea is the one I'm worried about, because if it tips over, it'll seep into the fridge, which has happened in the past, and it's not a nice clean-up job. And of course, that's where we're heading. Well, that's where we want to head, but I want to make sure I well and truly clear these rocks first. Whoop. Ah, shit. And it just bloody went. Fuck it. Exactly what I didn't want to have happen just happened. Ah, shit. Yeah, it's in the fridge. Yeah, I could have stuck it in here. Always listen to your intuition. Well, that was a little bit traumatic, I'd have to say. You saw the big spill there with the thermos. It just goes to show you've got to listen to your intuition. It was telling me that it was about to happen, so I should have listened better. Anyway, we're doing about 6.5 knots at the moment, but in the wrong direction because the angles were just not right. If I'd known it was going to be that rolly last night, I just would have poked my head in there and then kept going if I'd known. But you don't always know these things, obviously. Anyway, I'm just about to foot off a few degrees to try and get a slightly better angle. The problem is you do that and you lose the speed, and then it becomes even more rolly and uncomfortable. And you know, that's when bad things can happen as well. To me, I mean. So we're not taking any risks, any unnecessary risks. That would just be silly. So she's getting along nicely at the moment. 5.7, let's come down just a couple of degrees. We'll do it in little increments. In fact, let's hand steer down a little bit and see what happens. Let's try that. This is all about VMG now. So sure, we'll be going a little bit slower, but maybe not that slow that... No, we're still doing all right. See, we are doing 5.5.5. Remember that this log reads a little bit slow, but there we go. The angle's not quite right for the sails. But I think I'll persevere with this for a little while, maybe an hour, and then we'll jibe back again, and we should have that nice angle down the coast then. All right, well, I haven't had my breakfast yet. It's just after 8 o'clock. I'm going to have to make a new pot of tea. That was disappointing. I did get 1 cup at least. and I'm just about to have breakfast, which is probably a little bit cold now. One extreme to the other, but that's life on the water, or the life on passage, especially single-handed. So goodbye, Grande Riviere. It's a little bit rolly, but it's nice to be sailing. We're about 5 miles off the coast, 4 to 5, depending on where you measure from, of course. And we've got about 23 miles to go to Scotland Bay. I've jibed twice, and far out we were hitting some good speeds on the starboard jibe, but it was very rolly, really rolly. Whereas now it's pretty comfortable, generally speaking. I was downstairs 5 minutes ago, and we must have absolutely honked it down a wave. I've got the line out again, so let's see if we can be lucky. A mahi-mahi would be really nice. Ooh, look at this wave coming. On the one behind. All right. So we cracked the 6 knots on that one. So it's probably about a metre and a half, I reckon. Probably a metre. 16, 17 knots of true wind speed. 11, 12 apparent, between 130 and 140 angle, apparent wind angle. And we're cracking the 6 knots frequently. The breeze is probably going to shift as we get further west. 53 metres of depth here. I'm getting the odd click on the ratchet. If you heard that, there was another one. So I'm not sure whether there's something having a bit of a look. There's some teeth marks on the actual lure itself when I caught the very first kingfish, king mackerel. In fact, took some of the paint off. So I'm kind of hoping that we can stay on this jibe all the way. That would be very nice and convenient. But obviously that's something that we can't really control. We're probably going to lose some breeze as we get closer to the coast again. I think I can see, yeah, we're probably going to have to do another jibe actually. Although having said that, I'm pretty keen to just poke my nose in where the Venezuelan fishing boats hang out. So I might do that, and yeah, I probably won't stay because of the windlass. The windlass is kind of playing up a little bit. So I was just thinking to myself then, and I don't want to push my luck. If I needed to, if the windlass became a real problem, I could dinghy up from Scotland Bay. Well, we've got a fish. I think we've got a fish. I think we have. Let's have a look. There was a false alarm before, but we could have something here happening again, maybe. Or it could be just an increase in speed of the boat. There was a big bite mark on the lure before. I've got a feeling we did have something on, and I left it too long, and I think he got off, maybe pulled off. With the resistance, I think there's kind of some activity happening. Maybe they're playing with it, but they've got to bite that hook, obviously. Wow, look at this rain front coming through. That's going to be a lot of rain, and hopefully not too much wind with it. Wow, look at these waters, and this must be the currents. That's bizarre. Really freaky. Well, that's the rain squall that just passed over us. Fortunately, it avoided us. Well, I avoided it. I slowed down and let it pass, basically. So we've got about 9 miles to go. Unfortunately, we have engine on, as you can probably hear. I've got the main up, and it's doing a little bit of work, obviously. Only about 7 knots of breeze at the moment, with the odd gust here and there. It's at about 40 degrees. I was expecting that, so I'm not surprised. That's okay. So not far to go now. All going well, fingers crossed. Okay, we need to bring the main in a bit. It's only barely 30 degrees apparent wind now. Actually, I think it's right on the nose even now. Bugger. Bugger, 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 bugger. Well, this has been quite a week. From Trinidad to Tobago and back again. It's been pretty cool. Not without issues, but generally speaking, it's been pretty cool. As I've mentioned before, there's a bit of a confidence reciprocation thing going on. Me developing confidence in myself again and developing confidence in the boat as well. You know, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. I can see the Boca down there, Boca Monis. We've had some nice sailing, some really nice sailing actually. I don't know how tired I look, but I am feeling really tired. I hardly slept last night. It was arguably the rolliest anchorage I've been in ever. Wow, it was terrible. And it's interesting, when I first arrived, it seemed like it was going to be okay because it was quite a strong breeze and it was holding us directly into the chop and the swell. And so it was pitching a little bit, but it was actually not too bad. And then of course, after dark, which is when it happens, of course, always, the wind dropped a bit. Maybe there was some current in the bay. And then, wow, we were either side on to the swell or the transom was taking the brunt of it as well. And when that happens, the water slaps under the transom and there's this massive vibration and this crashing noise. It's really disconcerting. It feels like the boat's going to fall apart. It's crazy. Obviously that's not going to happen, but that's what it sounds and feels like. I just had to show you this coast. It is kind of stunning. This angle. I hope this can do it some sort of justice. It's just incredible. So nice. And then looking forward, we haven't got long to go now. We haven't got far. Well, in the scheme of things, if you're in a car, you'd be there in 10 minutes. But for us, it's a little bit more than an hour. So that's the Boca Monis. I'm going through, hang a left there, and then into Scotland Bay for the night. I'm looking forward to that. Some flat water. I think when I arrive, after I just get set up, I am going to have a bit of a nap. So good girl, Monastrell. We've had our little minor hiccups, but overall it's been really nice. Here's some of that turbulent water again. So we must be going through a current area again. Wow, amazing. Again, this is what I remember arriving to when I first came to Trinidad in 2019. What do we call it? Shakashikari, I think. Venezuela, up there. And through there, just above the paddleboard is Monis Island. And that's the gap we're looking for Boca Monis. You can see that's the, that's the point. That's the point we're going around there. Oh, is that a fish? I think it's fish having a bit of a play with the line. I think. Wow, look at that, eh? Look at this, just another crazy area with current. Wow, look at that. That is so freaky, really freaky. Wow, look at the waves it's creating. So I'm doing 5.3 knots, which again is reading slow. That could be up to 6 knots through the water, but I feel as though we're only maybe doing half of that over ground. I can check that, but it's bizarre. Let's have a look at navionics. Just make sure we're we are actually on track here. I mean, I can see everything by sight now, but I just want to check the depths. Again, an amazing bit of coastline. All these caves that have obviously been caused by erosion. They must get hit pretty hard sometimes. But not far now. Let's put the flag out. All right, just around the corner there is Scotland Bay. All right, we've got to drop this main. Yeah, looks pretty busy in there. I might even I'll stick my head around the corner, and I might even go into Turtle Bay. Oh shit! 4.5 meters of depth here. Shit, we got a bit close there. We must have been drifting back, which means I got a little bit distracted then with the main. I didn't look back. We were being sucked out. Scotland Bay. Okay, there's a few boats in here, but I reckon I can squeeze in here. And look how flat it is. Quiet, back and beautiful. Well, except for the party boats, of course. But quiet Scotland Bay, flat as. Wow, this is my kind of anchorage. Good morning. And what a contrast to the anchorage I've been to, which was Grande, Riviere, yesterday morning in the northeast of Trinidad. But here we are back in Scotland Bay, and look how flat this is. It's so nice. I've got some neighbours altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 boats including me. And look at this. And listen to those sounds. Oh, it's so peaceful. I managed to have a bit of a sleep in after waking up early. I managed to go back to sleep, and it was so nice. I really had a nice relax. Hey guys, if you enjoyed the video, it would help and mean a lot if you would click the like and subscribe buttons. Cheers.